Hello and welcome back to On the Workbench. Today we're taking a look at the GearWrench Ratcheting Serpentine Belt Tool, part number 3680D. This was purchased recently because I need to do another serpentine belt job, and I wanted to be able to have something with some ratcheting action in the middle. So let's take a look and see what we've got in this kit. So one of the things I liked about this kit is that it actually has a case to keep all the parts together, since serpentine belt tools often have various components that go together. So if we open up the kit here, we've got our nice blow molded case on the outside, double latch. We got our part number here on the side. We open this up, and the first thing you see here at the very top of the lid here, we've got a nice little label. This is laminated, has all the individual replacement part numbers and a description for the parts and where they go in the tray. So that's really nice. So in case you actually are, if you lose a socket or a crow's foot that comes with this, you got the parts number and the 1-800 telephone number down here that you can call to order a replacement. So if you look at our kit, the two parts here, we've got the upper handle here. This has a 6-point end on it. We'll measure the size of that here in just a moment. Interesting, there's a little curly cue off of the blow molded case. We'll throw that aside. And then the other main part is going to be this ratcheting mechanism here. And see where this spins here. And this has a 12-point end on it. And so then this, if you look on the extension bar here, this has a rubber O-ring on it. So then whatever the appropriate angle you need, that just snaps together like that. And then we've got a series of sockets. We've got metric, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and 19 millimeter. Then we've got a 13, 14, and 15 millimeter crow's foot. And then we've got adapters here for a 3/8, half, and even a 3/4. And so then if we take the end of our wrench here that has the ratcheting mechanism, then we can take, we'll just go for a 15 millimeter one here. We can just pop the socket in there. And then now this is on to our bolt that holds in our belt tensioner. Or if you're trying to move a water pump or something, or an alternator that has another screw in a precarious location that this might be useful to, put that on there, and then you want to loosen it up. Make sure you get it on the right side or tighten it up. You can obviously take this apart and put this the other way to be able to adjust the profile and the size of what you're working with here. So that's one of the sockets. If we look at, just for fun, the large 3/4 inch square drive, just like that. Then you could attach a crow's foot or something else to that. If we use a crow's feet, we can put a 3/8, so that's a 1/2 inch drive, but I'll put that in there anyway just for good measure. There's our 1/2 inch drive, fits almost flush with the back. Use my thumb to pop that out. Go to the 3/8 drive. And with the 3/8 drive, it's interesting, the 3/8 drive has a rubber O-ring around it. There is no ball detent on any of these, so even the 1/2 inch one is just square with no ball detent on it. The 3/8 with the rubber ring, I can then take a crow's foot here. Just going to grab the 13 millimeter one here at first. And then you can just snap that right on. And then use that to be able to get access to the bolt that you need to be able to mess with your belt tensioner to get that loosened up and replace your serpentine belt. And so I like this because of the ratcheting mechanism being down here. I was wanting an American-made one. I looked a long time at the Lyle version, which actually puts a ratcheting mechanism here. And I just didn't like the idea of a ratcheting mechanism being here as opposed to being at the business end of the tool. I just wasn't sure that was a good idea, so I ended up going with the GearWrench over the Lyle for that reason. Let's put these parts away. And just for fun, if you want to put this at the other end, you actually can't do it. It doesn't actually go over the end here. Let's get out a tape measure and measure the length of these parts. So then for the upper handle with the red end on it, from the center of the grip to about the center of the action there is about 1 foot. And then the ratcheting wrench here, this from center to center is about 8 inches. So you've got about 20 inches in length. To be able to work with, to be able to figure out where you want to, or what way you need to put this into your automobile to be able to access your serpentine or any other bolts down in the same area that are just a pain to get to. Everyone always loves doing serpentine belt jobs. I'm being sarcastic on that one, obviously. Because they're a pain to get to, they're hard to see, and I thought having a ratcheting here at the end would be a better way. Of course, other alternatives for accessing serpentine belts would be using some combination with the Snap-on FZ1 adapters, and then using some socket extensions. You can see here's a crow's foot on an FZ1 with an extension attached to a breaker bar. You can have some fun playing with mechanisms like that, or linking wrenches together. And I thought it was time for dealing with serpentine belts that I move on to something ratcheting, and I just thought it might make my life a little bit easier. I like the conciseness of this tray. I can just keep all these parts together with these dedicated crow's feet here and have my kit, so that when I have to do a serpentine belt again, rather than having to pull out a bunch of components out of my toolbox to assemble something that works, I've got everything here all put together. And in fact, if I look at this here, the way this is set up, if I put in the 3/8, I can actually put it away with that 3/8 stubby still attached. A little bit of a tight fit, but still works. Flip it on the other way, still works as well, so you can leave an attachment on there. Now let's look at the height of these sockets. So these are the pass-through sockets. I would suspect these would be compatible with other pass-through GearWrench sockets, and I would suspect the Craftsman Max Access sockets. I don't have any of those on hand to be able to make a comparison. These are 6-point sockets, not 12. And so you put this in, and we want to measure the height of that. So then from top of the socket to the back is just a touch over an inch, maybe an inch and a 1/16 from front to back. So trying to get that clearance as small as possible. If we go to a crow's foot, we'll just compare it like this here. And with a crow's foot on like that, that is less than an inch. That's about 7/8 of an inch in height. So this makes for a very nice low profile combination. So even if you needed a low profile socket access somewhere else with a ratchet, you could pull this out of your toolbox and put it to use. And then at the very least this, and then if you've got the pass-through sockets, you could add this into your collection. I know Craftsman just came out with what I suspect is made by GearWrench with a ratcheting tap and die. And you should be able to mix and match most of those parts together and build out your arsenal of tools that you're looking for. But today I'm just focused on the serpentine belt tool. I don't really have a need for pass-through sockets I'm aware of, but if I do, I've got a good starting ground here and something to build off of. So I hope you found this video useful, and have a great day. Bye.